Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samuel. With me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Liddell. So, Peter, we've spoken quite a lot about the strange events in Romania, whereby an election was just simply cancelled. It was kind of unheard of because the candidate who was cruising to a comfortable victory in the second round of the presidential election had to be stopped. And the constitution, right, not just at the last minute, the voting had already started in the election. The Romanian's constitutional court stepped in, annulled the whole thing, and it did it on the basis of the intelligence. The intelligence services of Romania had reported that there had been serious Russian interference in the first round of the election. Now, of course, that raised the question, because even if there had been, what's that got to do with the second round where Georgescu was leading comfortably? So the fact that he was there was supposedly Russian interference. Why cancel the second round? But the manifestation of this interference was that there was a campaign on TikTok waged on his behalf by Russia. But again, they didn't really have any evidence
Okay,
of this.
before we go, are you on TikTok?
I no, I'm not. I'm not on TikTok.
I'm not on TikTok.
No,
I don't know anybody my age.
I don't think so. Exactly. It's not.
You
Yeah,
know anyone on your age?
not in my. No, no, no.
I don't know anyone 20 years younger than I am that's on TikTok. Okay.
Right,
So I'm just extrapolating here.
right.
So we're looking at 10 to 15-year-olds,
Yeah,
10 to 19-year-olds, with young girls, maybe 20.
yeah. That's right. I
Okay,
mean,
okay, so I'm trying to get the demo here
right.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the franchise in Romania. Okay.
I don't get it either, because my understanding of TikTok is that it's a way of making little videos about yourself. That's why people use it, and that's what young people like to do. They take a lot of photographs, they dump the photographs into TikTok, and apparently you get a little video, and I think it's kind of cute. You send out videos of what you did on your holidays.
So so if, again, to extrapolate, this particular Romanian presidential candidate was presented as being cute.
That's right.
Work with me here. Work with me, George. You know,
Yeah.
this is, I'm sorry, this is just farcical. I mean,
It is farcical,
farce.
and it was very, but it was a very extreme step. I mean, you don't just simply cancel an election. I mean, but that's what the Romanian Constitutional Court did. But now there's been a report in a Romanian investigative outlet that said that this TikTok campaign had not been promoted by the Russians, but by the National Liberal Party of Romania. Um, Quite what the motive was, it's not immediately clear, but it does raise a very serious question, which is that, well, this was done by the Romanian Liberal Party, the party that was on the brink of losing this election. The intelligence services, now either they didn't spot this. I mean, how is it that the Romanian kind of media, some investigative media, is able to say, no, 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 this has nothing to do with the Russians. It's to do with this Romanian Liberal Party. So the intelligence services supposedly didn't spot it, which shows that they're totally incompetent, or they knew about it, and therefore they, acted in order to cancel an election, which is, I
Okay,
think,
well, I
an
mean,
even more
number
sinister
one,
explanation.
I- okay, number one, I maybe I'm just really way behind the hot times and don't understand the current technologies. But I mean,
No, I don't.
when you're looking at a presidential campaign anywhere in the world, do you first look at what TikTok is doing? Is that your default position? Number two, this is a genuine question. Is the Liberal Party of Romania liberal? Because sometimes names
Yeah,
are
no, exactly. That's right. We never know with these things. They call
okay.
themselves
I
liberal.
mean, because it sounds like a Pied Piper
Right.
strategy.
right.
that backfired.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, here's the story that appeared. So first in Romania, and so it's this is quite hard to follow. You know, like they put in the headline, ANAF discovered that PNL paid for a campaign that massively promoted Chelin Georgescu on TikTok. So you want to know who the hell is ANAF and what the hell is
Okay, well,
PNL?
that title really makes me want to read further, you know?
Exactly. But the ANF is the Romania's tax authority, and PNL is the Liberal Party. That's an acronym for the Liberal Party. Um, and then Snoop, that's the name of this Romanian investigative media, learned that ANAF, that's the tax authority, recently discovered that balance and verticality campaign action on TikTok, right away, what is balance and verticality? On TikTok was paid for with money from the National Liberal Party. So that balance of verticality, that was the campaign that was waged on behalf of Georgescu. According to a confidential source aware of the results of ANAF's investigation, the tax authority's investigation. The information was confirmed for Snoop from discussions and correspondence with the company hired by PNL, that's the Liberal Party, Kensington Communications. So that was they were really behind this whole TikTok campaign, Kensington Communication, which designed the campaign. The company paid 130 influencers co-opted on the FrameUp platform. I don't know what that is, but claims that the form generated by Kensington Communication has undergone some changes which do not belong to our team, and we're not aware of having been requested by party representatives. So Kensington Communication, I think, is trying to dissimulate, you know, and they say, oh no, well, it's undergone some changes,
What
but
it sounds like is that they were commissioned to do what I would use in archaic language, an ad campaign. They sold it, and they're making claims that the receiver, person or persons that purchased it, made change. That's how I'm understanding.
I think you're almost certainly correct. Yeah, I think that's right. Kensington said that the hashtag chosen by our company was equal, or whatever that thing, which was changed on the frame up platform.
What a stupid hashtag. I can't even read
No,
it.
I can't. Equilibri susir. Yeah, but maybe it's in Romanian, so maybe it means
Maybe.
if you know Romanian, maybe that means more. Um, which was changed on the frame up platform without our involvement to equilibrium, something else, which is a little different.
I wonder if they're going to give their money back.
Well, I think they're suing. I think you're a very good question. I think Kensington is suing. However, in its entirety, this whatever
Hashtag.
campaign was created for Chelin Georgescu, according to a declassified document from the CSAT. That the CSAT is the presidential authority. It was the president himself who commissioned this report from the intelligence services. Now that's the same president who just said that very hard to prove Russian interference, but that doesn't mean that there isn't Russian interference. It's very hard to find evidence of it, but it's still there.
If you say so.
That's right. What was it? You remember when um, Donald Rumsfeld, after they couldn't find the weapons of mass destruction, and he says, absence of evidence is not the same thing as evidence of absence. Whoa, that's deep. Write it down. Absence of evidence is not the same thing.
That's a good line for a game show, I
It
guess.
is. um, The campaign garnered 2.4 million views, where influencers described Chelin Georgescu using a copy-paste script without naming him, but using the characterizations he himself makes, claims this expert forum. Also, an analysis by Snoop conducted on the brief sent to the editorial office by a firm hired by the Liberals, I think that must be Kensington, shows that the influencers followed the instructions set out in advance by the PNL. So
Well,
basically,
George, how is this any different than a newspaper
yeah,
or a outdoor ad campaign?
right.
How is it different?
No, no, no. The only reason they got in on this is that they started panicking when Georgescu won that first round. And so that's what they said. Well, what's this? But what exactly was the agenda here by PNL? I'm not. It's not clear. Um, but it was clear how they immediately latched on to Russia when there really was no evidence that this had anything to do with Russia. The same platform was used to create the TikTok campaign for the book of the then PNL president, Nicholas Ceausescu. Chuka, not Ceausescu.
How do you know how to pronounce these names?
I don't.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
guessing. Flying by the seat of my pants. I don't know. 130 influencers co-opted by the company Kensington Communication, hired by the PNL, and which used the Frame-Up platform, launched in November 2024 before the presidential elections, a campaign, blah, blah. Influencers were given a script, and in a video, they convey to the public the qualities of a future president without naming him.
Well, didn't the Kamala Harris do exactly the same
Something
thing?
like that, yeah. Yeah. Um, but that was the TikTok campaign. I mean, that's all that they did. The whole thing was made up. This thing with the TikTok, that this was somehow really a big deal. This TikTok campaign. I mean, it's not at all clear that it was a big deal. I mean, there was obviously another reason why his campaign took off, and it wasn't to do with
Well,
TikTok.
maybe his messaging worked with the
Yeah,
election. I don't know.
right, right, exactly.
You
Uh,
know, riding around bare-chested on a horse appeals to some people.
That's right. That's right. And again, as we discussed the other day, he's a well-known figure in Romania. I mean, this is just made up by the Western media. Oh, he came from nowhere. No one had ever heard of him. He was a very well-known person. And he had been actively involved in Romanian politics for many years. He had already been spoken about as a potential prime minister some years ago. He was a university professor. He had a position at the United Nations. He's a distinguished Romanian. Some influencers wrote in the comments of the video, Kalin Georgescu. And now Politico, of course, now they had to report this, but they immediately distorted it by suggesting that somehow the liberals were the victims in all of this.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Report ties Romanian liberals to TikTok campaign that fueled pro-Russia candidate. Again, pro-Russia. No evidence he's pro-Russian. No, he's never said anything that was pro-Russian. A campaign from a governing center-right party may have been hijacked to benefit far-right candidate Kalin Georgescu. This reports. They never said it was hijacked. This was entirely made up by Politico that it may have been hijacked. No, they said it was the Liberal Party that was behind this campaign. May have been hijacked.
It's kind of like I like the really sophisticated one. We have the maze, and then you have the ball, and you have to balance it. Yeah, and it's like, we
Right.
reached a barrier. Now let's
That's
reassemble the board. They got to find another way.
right.
It's exactly what this is.
Right. Exactly.
Because
No,
because the facts are not going to drive your research.
right.
The end result drives.
That's
You,
right.
okay?
Exactly. That's what. But Politico. That's right. Hey, we need to do damage control. Boom. Oh yeah. I mean, they may have been hijacked. You just made this up. Politico always just makes stuff up. They may have been hijacked. So then he goes on. The center-right Romanian National Liberal Party paid for a campaign on TikTok that ended up favoring far-right independent candidate Kalin Georgescu. A new report from Investigative Outlet
That's
says,
why I think this could be a Pied Piper situation where they thought they thought that this ad campaign on TikTok would make him look like a fool or a
Right.
buffoon, and it actually backfired on him. And just like Hillary Clinton's campaign against Donald Trump in
Right,
2000.
right. No, yeah, no, I agree. The Democrats are very good at playing that game in America, where they back the most extreme candidate. So the most extreme candidate wins the primary, and then hey, great, we're up against a nutcase in the general election. Um, Georgescu was catapulted from obscurity into the
Well, he
lead.
wasn't obscure. Go ahead.
They always put that into the lead in the first round of voting in the Romanian presidential election. But the country's top constitutional court ended up canceling the vote due to a TikTok campaign that heavily promoted pro-Russia Georgescu, potentially impacting election results, similar to influence operations run by the Kremlin in Ukraine and Moldova. Again, this is just all of this made up totally by Politico, similar to influence operations run by the Kremlin. When has any Kremlin candidate won an election in in Ukraine?
Well, everybody, yeah, keep an eye on Twitter X tomorrow. George and I talked about this earlier this morning. Okay,
Right.
with our very good friend Toddy. Okay,
That's
keep
right.
going.
Yeah, that's right. Um, but what was interesting here is that well they canceled the vote due to a TikTok campaign. You know, whatever you can say about the TikTok campaign, what does that got to do with an election? I mean, you can, I mean, who cares what happens on TikTok or Facebook or
Well, I mean,
X or whatever?
George, but let's look at 2008 and 2012. What was the secret sauce for the Obama people? Facebook.
That's right.
They learned
That's right.
social media. They
Yeah,
oh no, that's unfair.
that's right.
Facebook was interfering in the election. This is the same thing.
But
I
yeah,
I can't get this around my head. Even if it was TikTok, it's public knowledge.
exactly.
If
Exactly.
George and I, for some bizarre reason, we could actually get on TikTok later today. I have no inclination to do that, okay? But others, that's
That's
their
right.
comment on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
that's right. It's very interesting when you say that about Obama, because when Obama, it was particularly in 2008, and this was celebrated. Hey,
Yes, that's my
fantastic
point.
social media, great. Isn't Obama really cool and with it? And part of the young generation. He understands social media. Social media only got this bad reputation in 2016 when it helped Trump. That's when the media turned on social media. But up until then, hey, it's cool to use Facebook to win an election. I still don't know how you use Facebook to win an election.
I,
Anyway, it says, according to this report, the Romanian tax agency found that the Liberals had paid for a social media campaign on TikTok through influencers and by promoting a hashtag, which ended up being hijacked to benefit Georgescu instead. That no one said anything about anything being hijacked. Again, notice just Politico just makes stuff up. That it just makes up the news. Hijacked. The Liberals are a junior coalition partner in the outgoing government, and their candidate, Nicolae Ciucea, placed fifth in the annulled first round. Well, that's a problem. You
well, I
come
guess
out.
well, I mean, we can maybe connect obvious dots here. He came in fifth place, and then the election was annulled.
No connection. They're
No
completely
connection
two
there.
separate
Okay.
events.
No leap of faith here. Okay.
Um, And then the National Liberal Party paid an external firm, Kensington Communication, to implement the social media campaign. In a statement, Kensington Communication wrote, if the campaign has been cloned or hijacked in favor of one candidate or another, we ask the competent bodies to verify and take the necessary legal measures. So they're just simply, hey, I mean, they're obviously worrying about any steps that are going to be taken against them because then they think they're going to be set up as the
Yeah,
fall guy.
but has anybody kind of checked with the electorate? I mean,
No.
how do you folks feel about the election that you participated in?
Right.
The court is just annulled it or
That's right.
How do you feel about it? Again, political has no interest
No,
whatsoever.
none, no, no, never, because that's all just Russia. Whenever any election goes against you, it's just Russia. And then here again it says the company also said the script they had sent out to influencers for the campaign had been altered, and they do claim that, but in fact, we didn't go into the details in that report in Snoop, but they say that's untrue. In fact, the script had not been altered; it's exactly the same. As what was sent out to the influencers was exactly the same script as the National Liberal wanted from Kensington Communication.
A lot of lying in this
A lot of
story.
lying. Anyway, so that's now the interesting thing is, of course, what happens now because you cancel an election, and the constitutional court said, well, you've got to hold another election, and so far, no date has been set for a new election.
We'll get to it. We'll
We'll,
get to it.
we'll get to it.
And then
Right,
we'll have another case of a president, potentially at least. I don't know well, who nobody knows the electoral calendar right now. There's another case here. Well, someone may be in office without a legal mandate.
right.
It's turning into a trend
It is
because,
turning into
as our friend I think Tariq said earlier today, it happened in Romania. Oh, George, there's an election coming up in Germany really
that's
soon.
that's right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The EU is, now they're into annulling elections. Okay.
That's right. It's very, very crude. I mean, it used to be that you would you would just simply ignore election results. Now, when you can't ignore them anymore, you just simply cancel them. That's quite extreme. And of course,
Yeah, but
Politico,
George,
cheers this on.
in the olden times, meaning when we were younger men, look at 1960. Okay, there's at the time and certainly since then, there were a lot of shenanigans going on in 1960. Richard Nixon swallowed his pride, held his nose, and let it go. Okay? That's what happens in elections. You do better next time. Okay?
Right.
But no, they
But
don't
the
feel.
thing about the 1960 election is that, well, they held the election.
Yeah.
You can't I mean, canceling an election before you hold it because you don't think you're going to win, the wrong guy is going to win. I mean, that really is extreme. Just say, well, we're just not going to have the election
Well, and
because
but
we're going to lose it.
yeah, but this is very, very telling, is because the EU presents itself as a law and order, okay, and values. George and I are still discussing
Right,
what their values are, and the rule of law,
right,
okay, and it's getting more and more wobbly as and it's being compressed in time.
right.
Is that now in the EU, just because you hold an election doesn't mean there's going to be a result.
No,
It doesn't mean there will be any kind of closure. It could be, well, we're going to try it again, just like we had with EU referenda. A
mhm.
country doesn't pass it, you try again. You keep trying it until you get the outcome you want. Now they're doing it with national elections.
That's right. I mean, you had those two referendums in Ireland. There was one, the Treaty of Nice, and then there was the Treaty of Lisbon. Both times the Irish rejected it, and so they had to do it again. They had to rerun the election, and then you had something similar in France when they voted on the EU constitution. Again, the French rejected the EU constitution. Um, but at least you ran it. I mean, this way we're just not even going to run it. So now they have a problem because, of course, if they have this election again, and Georgescu is obviously the martyred figure. I mean, hey, you stole the election from right under me. He's going to run again, so he's going to win by an even bigger margin because now the authorities have been shown to be lying and
He's
deceptive,
not obscure anymore.
not obscure anymore. So you have to think, well, what can they do? I think the only thing they can do is just bring some criminal charges against him, and therefore just say, hey, you're not eligible to run. But because otherwise, if he runs, they're going to have exactly the same result.
Yeah. What the next step is to destroy him personally.
Right. Right.
And given the trajectory of all of this, I put money on that.
Yeah, I think so. I
Do
think, I
you
mean,
think these
there were,
people want to be humiliated? This is one of the, this is this professional managerial class, they hate humiliation. They hate being exposed for their rank hypocrisy and their vacuous intelligence, okay? They think of themselves as the intellectuals and the guardians of society. Well, they're scum of
right.
society,
They are.
okay? That's who they are.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think, as you said, there's the elections in Germany, and those could be quite serious. I mean, we're now talking about Germany, and then particularly, as we discussed in an earlier video, there's been this terrorist attack. Really, Christmas. The election is in just 2 months' time. It's going to be front and center of people's imagination. So it's likely that the alternative for Deutschland will do very, very well. And then you watch the German establishment go into action right away to rob them or whatever of their
And in
election
the
result.
meantime, remember the monarchist.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that will be back in the
The mon
newspaper.
That's right. That's a trial that's still ongoing. Yeah, the monarchists, exactly the ones who want to go back to the Wilhelmine Germany constitution. Yeah, that long complex trial that's still ongoing. Yeah, no, I think there's gonna be quite serious because it's obvious that the establishment parties in Germany are very, very unpopular. I mean, there's a poll out today saying, well, who's your preference for next German chancellor? And Alice Weidel, who is the leader of the AfD in the Bundestag, she's come in at number one. That's quite something. The leader of the AfD in the Bundestag, is number one as to who the Germans
But
want as
of
their
course,
chancellor.
the media and Politico is the worst offender. There's something wrong with the people. Why do they think this way? They never will say, the establishment has created a cul-de-sac for the
Right,
body politic. They have no answers to the problems that they have created. They have no vision for the future. And this is all under, this whole thing that Trump is going to, everybody has to make 5% of GDP in NATO. And I mean, they get 5% under all, conditions of austerity.
right,
Oh my goodness. Maybe Trump really is, the Manchurian candidate to bust up NATO because already go across the entire bloc. They're busting all of their budget rules,
right,
all of them, even the Germans,
right,
which used to be sacrosanct,
right,
okay?
right.
And now you want them to pay even more money for it,
Yeah,
okay?
5%. I think I don't think that's likely because, even Poland, the most enthusiastic of NATO spenders, even they're only up to 4%. So 5% that would be quite a stretch.
Well, and then of course our ideological ally Orban, he's creating an agricultural alliance
Right.
of farmers across the bloc.
Yeah.
Don't don't mess with teachers. Don't mess with nurses. Never, never, ever, anywhere. Don't mess with farmers.
No, no,
I
definitely not.
warn you, it doesn't come out well. You're going to get cow dung on your face, probably quite literally.
Yes, yes, no question. So, but going back to Romania, I do tend to think that the Romanian establishment kind of really did very poorly. It's what happens when you spend too much time listening to Ursula von der Leyen and Annalena Baerbock and Kaja Kallas and all these people who run the EU. You listen to them, and you're going to get yourself into this very serious mess. I mean, because Romania has gone further than any previous EU state has gone.
I think this Callis lady, George and I have to create a weekly video podcast exclusively devoted
The
to
Kaja Kallas.
this imbecile of a person. Okay. And I think it will be very, very entertaining. Okay. I will encourage George to scour the internet for videos. People like that.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
Burrell,
I can't agree.
Burrell, we already miss you. God bless you
I
for the
already have something
for the
good.
gardening lessons. Okay, but
Yeah,
your successor, whoa.
that's right. Yeah, I already have some good things on Kaya Kala, so maybe see her in action tomorrow during our live stream. Yeah, she never fails us. Like Borel never failed us. Kaya Kalas is also not going to fail us. She's even nuttier than
Nutty.
Borel.
It's just nutty. Yeah. No, because she's ideologically possessed.
Right,
She's full of hatred and phobias. And it just brings up it's the antithesis of humanity is
right,
what these people are. Burrell, okay, he liked his booze. He couldn't speak any, probably spoke Spanish well, but didn't speak any other language well.
right.
And he just, he's maybe, I mean, maybe that we need to test this proposition. I think he's the last patrician of the EU. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what patrician. I mean, Ursula von der Leyen
Ah, well, there you
came
go.
from a
You're right.
very old, wealthy German family on both sides, on her, on her family side, and then she also married into the von der Leyen family, but von der Leyen isn't her real name. So she's very much part of the German moneyed aristocracy, and she carries herself as someone who's part of the German moneyed
Good
aristocracy.
quaff.
Very good co-op, always very elegantly dressed, and yeah, that she's that very icy German maiden. It may not be a maiden anymore, but she has the whole demeanor of someone you really don't want to mess with. That's
Yeah, because Merkel kind of frumpy, you know.
exactly frumpy. She had that East German,
Yeah, that kind of dour
mm,
East German.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. She was never on a first name basis with fashion.
No, exactly. She was really, she grew up in an environment where they didn't really pay too much attention to these,
Yeah, you could tell.
style and fashion
You
and
could
so forth.
tell. You
Yeah.
could tell. And childless apparently as well.
Yes, yeah, this is well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We never heard much about Mr. Merkel, did we?
No, but he was a physicist. I think quite a distinguished, I think, physicist. I think, like professor of physics, either physics or chemistry in university. She herself was a trained, I think, chemist. So I think it's very much a, yeah, I mean, scientific background. I think, to be not too charitable, people in the sciences they often don't pay too much attention to the appearances. They go to the lab and do their thing. They don't waste time preening in front of a mirror and so on.
Yeah, well, it's the forgotten ones. Mr. Merkel. Shout out to you, what you had to go through.
All right.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is the Gaggle with Peter and George. We're on local, so please go to thegaggle.locals.com. This is Sunday. That means tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to have our live stream. No one else will be doing it. We'll be doing
We're
it.
doing exactly December the
Then
23rd.
it's the eve before the eve.
That's right. December the 23rd, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Please join us. Come with comments, criticisms, suggestions, ideas. But what we like most of all are good, strong, intellectually stimulating questions. We love addressing those. And so, homework for tonight, think of things that you want to ask us tomorrow. In the meantime, you got to deal with this situation with these dogs. They're not in a good mood, and then we're the first to feel it when they're not in a good mood. So if you have some money in your pocket, some money stashed away, maybe in a post office box somewhere, take them all out, dunk them into the tip jar. That'll calm things down for a little bit. We're very grateful for all of your help, friendship, and support. The more you're able to donate, the more of these videos we can make, the more we can improve the technology, and we'll put the dogs into a happier frame of mind, if that's at all possible. So remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye bye.